What are the biggest mistakes someone could make when they first get into an accident?
And I would say the single biggest mistake would be for them to communicate directly with an insurance company. And it could be any insurance company.
Yeah.
It could be theirs or it could be the other party's insurance company.
Yeah.
I would say that is filled with pitfalls and mistakes that could ultimately...
Why is that?
It's because everything that they say to that insurance company is recorded. And the insurance company, they're not your friend. They may sound like that they're trying to help you out and to try to resolve your case or claim, but believe me, they're not your friend. They're out to save a dollar for their employer. Their job will be to ask you questions, which they will have a record of, that will ultimately minimize the value of your case.
Yeah,
okay?
Study that.
Correct. And then since it's recorded, later on, they could use that information against you.
All right, today we have a special guest, Wisam Ghuneim. He's one of Houston's top personal injury lawyers. Wisam, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Hamza. My name is Wisam Ghuneim. I'm a personal injury attorney here in Houston. I've been licensed for roughly about 18 years. And and we have a firm here where we represent injured folks in a variety of different cases and lawsuits, ranging from car accidents, commercial vehicle accidents, premises liability, negligent security cases, and so on and so forth. So.
Nice. So tell me, Wisam, what inspired you to start a personal injury law firm here in Houston, Texas?
Sure, absolutely. Well, it kind of evolved. Originally, I was doing a lot of commercial disputes, representing business folks, commercial enterprises, and contract disputes, construction disputes. And then from there, we started taking on clients that have been hurt in a variety of different ways through the fault of somebody else. Okay, and I found myself really relating to the individuals who have been injured, as opposed to the multi-millionaire business person who's trying to sue another multi-millionaire business person. I just felt more drawn to the average worker who got hurt at a power plant, the average person who got hurt in a commercial vehicle accident and wasn't sure what to do, the father who's now concerned about how's he going to make a living and support his family. So that's what drew me into personal injury law. And obviously it's very, if you do a good job and you take care of your clients, it is financially rewarding. And so that's how we ended up here.
Nice, that's a great story.
Thank you.
What was the hardest part starting this firm, and what are some of the challenges that you had to go through to start, especially from scratch, a personal injury law firm?
Absolutely. Well, this firm, we started it, it's my brother and I. We started it from scratch, if you will. And the hardest part for us, just like for any new business, is getting business, getting clients, and getting clients to trust you with their affairs, to trust you with their lawsuit and their case. I think that is the hardest part. And then from there, just maintaining a level of high quality client service at my firm,
Awesome.
Making sure that level of service that I want for the clients to experience that are coming to us is maintained throughout their experience and throughout the duration of their case. That's the hardest part.
Yeah. Who has been your influence, mentor, if you will? Who helped you, guide you through the process, or was it just you and your brother alone?
Honestly, it's. I would advise any new attorney to have a mentor. I don't think I've ever had one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good lawyers here in Houston that I can pick up the phone and call to ask a question.
Yes.
And they've been a wonderful, source of information and guidance for me.
Yes.
But I never really had one mentor specifically that's dedicated to guiding me or for me to reach out to. As far as business in general, my biggest influence has always been my father, who himself is a business owner. And I saw what he did and the things that he had to go through and how hard he worked and the manner with which he conducted his business. It was, a high level of integrity, high, ethics, high, morality, and that basically what inspired me to carry out my business the same way that he did.
Nice. And what keeps you motivated, do you think, during hard times, hard cases, or slow times? Let's say this case is a loser. Like, what do you do to keep your motivation up?
Well, I've always felt that I'm self-motivated. Mm-hmm. I don't think that I've needed an external force or factor to motivate me.
Yeah.
I've been always self-driven, self-motivated. I also, my employees, they motivate me.
Nice.
They inspire me to come in and day out and to do a good job. I feel a sense of responsibility for them.
Nice.
And obviously my clients, I feel a sense of responsibility for them as well. I don't ever, want for a client to come in here and walk away regretting hiring us. Yeah. Even if his case is, doesn't have the outcome that we had hoped for. As long as you're transparent and straightforward and honest with the client, I think clients, tend to really respect and appreciate that. So yeah, they inspired me as well. But generally, I've been self-driven. But I would say my employees and my
team.
Clients. Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct. So the last personal question that I have is, if you haven't been a lawyer, what would you be?
It's a good question. If I was not a lawyer, I think probably something to do with, tax, accounting, senior management, CPA, something like that. I've always been good with math, and I've always understood accounting and finance. That's so awesome. Something along those lines.
You wouldn't be a doctor?
Man, I don't know. Probably not. I developed this unreasonable and probably misplaced aversion to being a doctor at the age of 12. Yeah. I think it has something to do with my mom telling me, I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be a doctor. Yeah. And kids are rebellious.
You were like, no, I'm going to be an attorney.
They will do exactly the opposite of what their parents tell them.
That's awesome. So now we're getting to the business questions. Sure. So what are the biggest mistakes someone could make when they first get into an accident? Not necessarily an auto accident, but any accident in general.
You're talking about clients, individuals.
Yeah.
Correct. That's a very good question. I would say the single biggest mistake would be for them to communicate directly with an insurance company. And it could be any insurance company. Yeah. It could be theirs, or it could be the other party's insurance company. Yeah. I would say that is a no-no. That's it's filled with pitfalls and mistakes that could ultimately...
Why is that?
It's because everything that they say to that insurance company is recorded.
Yeah.
Okay? And the insurance company, they're not your friend. Mm-hmm. And they may sound like that they're trying to help you out and to try to resolve your case or claim. Yeah. But believe me, they're not your friend. They're out to save $1, for their employer. So their job will be to ask you questions, which they will have a record of, that will ultimately minimize the value of your case.
Yeah, okay. Study that.
Correct. And then since it's recorded, later on, they could use that information against you. So you should not speak to an insurance company. Yeah. When you're injured, you should definitely speak to a lawyer first. Yeah. And let them handle communications with the insurance company.
Did you have any experiences where, the person called the insurance company, and because they called them, they messed up their case a little bit? Absolutely. We had a situation recently. We were just dealing with this issue a few days ago. Mm-hmm. This person called the insurance company, and then they hired us a few days after the accident. Yeah. But prior to retaining us and hiring us, they had communicated with the insurance company. Mm-hmm. The insurance company pretended that they're going to look out for them. They sent them a check. Yeah. I think it was like for $1,600. Wow. And then they deposited that check. Yeah. And later on, when they hired us, obviously they didn't tell us about the check that was sent to them. When we pursued the claim with the insurance company, they told us, hey, this case has been settled. The client accepted $1,600 in full satisfaction of all claims and for his injuries, and he has no further case. So that's a clear mistake that we have to deal with right now. Yeah. But yeah, that's one that kind of... So something like that, how long would a case, someone, let's say, got in an accident, how long would their case take to be settled? How long would it take to have a judgment?
Sure. Very good question. Usually, if, you've got two types of cases. You've got cases that are what we call pre-litigation cases. These are cases that stay outside the judicial system. They're not in court. A lawsuit has not been filed against the wrongful, the negligent actor.
Yes.
And in the second set of cases, you have the litigation cases.
Yeah.
The pre-litigation cases, the ones that remain outside the courthouse, those anywhere between 6 and 10 months, I would say 90% of the cases fall somewhere within that time frame for a regular standard personal injury case.
Yeah.
And I'm referring to car accidents in general.
Yeah.
If a case has to go to court for a variety of reasons, we do file cases and we do sue, negligent parties. Those cases can take a lot longer.
Wow.
We're talking 1, 2, 3 years, if not longer.
Oh, wow.
Correct.
And these cases probably take a lot of energy, a lot of resources, and money as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. They do take a lot of resources, a lot of energy, a lot of expenses in terms of filing fees, deposition fees, expert witness fees. Those costs are associated with filing a case to court. That's why we evaluate cases carefully, and obviously we're having conversations with the client throughout the process before we make a decision whether or not to file a case in court or not.
Yeah. When someone comes to you and they've been lowballed by an insurance company, what do you do? What do you tell them? This is too low. I'm sure I can get you more money. How can I help you? Yeah,
well, obviously we have to evaluate a case and see exactly how badly they were injured. How the nature of the wrongful conduct on the other side, who the parties are, who the carriers are. There's a variety of factors that go into evaluating, a case basically.
Nice.
Before we can, determine, hey, this is a low ball offer.
Yeah. Right. And my last and final question is, how do you market your firm? How do you make sure that you stand out in a very competitive market?
Yeah.
Especially with the guys filled with 45.
Absolutely. You're right. Personal injury marketing is one of the more challenging things about running a personal injury firm. I should have mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
If you drive down any freeway here in Texas, not just in Texas, but almost any state in the country,
absolutely.
I would say 80 to 90% of the billboards will be for personal injury attorneys. So it is a very competitive market.
Yes.
Okay. We have our own, billboards campaign. We do some social media marketing as well. We need to do a better job with that.
Yes.
We do a lot of local sponsorships, a lot of local presentations, like the Chamber of Commerce, different organizations that we try to attend to tell them about our services and what we do.
What kind of, if a lawyer was starting out and they wanted to build their network, are there certain networking events that they could go to? What kind of meetings would you guys hold?
In terms of marketing, I would recommend to that attorney to really focus on social media.
Okay.
Right now, okay, especially in this marketplace, and it also depends. Are you opening up an office, a personal injury office, in a big city, or are you in a small town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? What's the difference?
The difference is in a big city, it'll be more difficult for that startup attorney to really, join organizations and do,
establish themselves?
Correct, establish themselves and get the word out by mouth, about their firm and about what they do, okay? So that's why in a big city, I would say focus on a lot of social media.
Yeah.
In a small town market, social media is still critical, but there are more opportunities to really engage in local organizations, local, Chamber of Commerce, events, sponsorships. Just be active in the community, and the word will get out that way.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Wisam. I appreciate it so much.
Man, thank you for having me, Hamza.
me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anytime.